Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something real today, something that hits deep. You see, there comes a moment in a man's life when he looks back and realizes that he lost something priceless. Not just any woman, but a real woman. One who stood by him, believed in him, loved him at his worst, and saw his potential before he even saw it in himself. And let me tell you, when that realization hits, it's like a freight train of regret crashing into his soul. Regret is the most painful teacher. Because here's the truth. We don't always appreciate what we have until it's gone. When he had her, he may have taken her for granted. He may have thought she'll always be there while he chased distractions, fed his ego, or refused to grow. But when she finally walks away, when she decides she's had enough, that's when the reality sets in. And regret, it's a silent tormentor that never lets you sleep in peace. What makes a real woman? A real woman isn't just about looks. She's a queen, and her presence elevates everything around her. She's strong, but she's also nurturing. She's independent, but she still knows how to love deeply. She challenges you to be better, but she also supports you when you fall. And losing a woman like that, it's like losing a guiding star in a dark sky. The emotional breakdown, denial, anger, acceptance. At first, he won't accept it. He'll act tough. He'll tell himself, she'll come back. She needs me. But as time passes, he sees her glowing without him, growing, thriving, and smiling in a way she never did when she was with him. And that's when the anger kicks in. Not at her, but at himself. How did I let her go? Why didn't I treat her better? How could I have been so blind? And then finally comes the hardest part, acceptance. He sees the truth. She wasn't the problem. He was. Men, listen to me. Your ego can either be your greatest tool for success or your biggest downfall in relationships. When a real woman loves you, she's not trying to control you. She's trying to build with you. But if you let pride block your vision, you'll push away the one person who truly had your back. And when she's gone, you'll realize that you weren't as powerful as you thought because she was part of your strength. Now, here's where the transformation happens. Some men will sit in their regret, replaying the past over and over. But the smart ones, they use that pain as fuel for change. They stop blaming and start growing. They stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. Because here's the bottom line. A real woman won't wait for you to become a real man. That's a journey you have to take on your own. Ladies, hear me when I say this. A real woman doesn't beg to be chosen. She knows her value, she loves with her whole heart, but the moment she feels unappreciated, she walks away with her dignity intact, and when she leaves, she doesn't look back. So men, if you have a real one in your life, cherish her, honor her, grow with her, because if you don't, someone else will. And trust me, that's a regret you don't want to live with. Thank you. Regret is one of the most powerful emotions a person can experience, especially when it comes to relationships. When a man loses a real woman, the weight of that regret is unlike anything else. At first, he may not even recognize what he has lost. He may brush it off, thinking he can replace her, thinking he can move on without feeling the impact. But as time passes, as the silence shifts in, and as he watches her glow without him, something inside shifts. That's when the realization hits. He let go of something truly special, and now he has to live with the consequences. Regret is a quiet but persistent teacher. It doesn't scream at you all at once. It whispers to you in the moments you least expect. It shows up in the middle of the night when he rolls over and realizes there's no one there to hold. It shows up in the songs that remind him of her, in the little things she used to do that he never fully appreciated. It shows up when he meets other women and realizes that none of them compare to her. This is where regret becomes inescapable. Because it's not just about missing her, it's about knowing he had something real and lost it due to his own choices, his own blindness, his own inability to value what was in front of him. The regret is amplified when he sees her moving on, not bitter, not broken, but better. He expected her to be stuck on him, to chase after him, to wait for him to come to his senses. But when she doesn't, when she thrives in his absence, that's when the pain deepens. He realizes she wasn't just a woman, she was an asset, a force, a queen who only wanted to build with him. But instead of seeing her as a gift, he treated her like an option, and now that option is gone. Regret doesn't just haunt a man mentally, it affects him physically. He starts feeling it in his body. The restless energy, the lack of peace, the frustration of knowing he can't go back and fix what he broke. He may try to distract himself with work, friends, or even other women, but nothing fills that void. Because the reality is, a real woman doesn't just leave a space in your life, she leaves a presence so powerful that you feel it even when she's gone. The worst part of regret is knowing that he can't rewrite history. He can't go back and undo the moments when she needed reassurance and he was too caught up in himself. He can't take back the words he never said, the appreciation he never showed, or the times he failed to be the man she needed. And the more he reflects, the more he understands that losing her wasn't just losing a person, it was losing a version of himself that she helped bring out. The version that could have been great if only he had valued her presence. For many men, regret becomes a turning point. It's the moment they start taking accountability, start recognizing their patterns, and start understanding that love isn't just about receiving, it's about showing up, being present, and cherishing what's real before it's gone. But for others, regret remains a weight they carry for years, a lesson learned too late. They become the ones who say, I had a good woman and I lost her, as they watch another man do what they failed to do, love her the right way. A real woman is more than just a partner. She is a foundation, a force of nature, a source of strength, wisdom, and love. She is not defined by superficial beauty or external validation, but by the depth of her character, the power of her mind, and the purity of her heart. When a man is in the presence of a real woman, he is in the presence of someone who elevates him, challenges him, and nurtures his growth. She is not there to complete him, because she is already whole on her own, but to walk beside him, to build with him, and to inspire him to become the best version of himself. A real woman carries herself with grace and confidence. She knows her worth, and because of that, she does not beg for love or chase after someone who does not see her value. She loves deeply, but she does not tolerate disrespect. She is willing to invest in a man, support him, and uplift him, but only if he shows that he is deserving of that energy. She is not afraid to set boundaries because she understands that love should never come at the cost of self-respect. When she gives with her whole heart. But the moment she realizes she is not being valued, she walks away with dignity. What separates a real woman from the rest is not just her strength, but also her emotional intelligence. She understands how to communicate, how to listen, and how to nurture a relationship in a way that fosters growth. She does not play games or engage in drama because she values peace and stability. She is secure in who she is, which means she does not seek attention or validation from the outside world. Her worth is something she already carries within. She does not need a man to feel complete, but when she chooses to be with someone, it is because she sees potential, loyalty, and a shared vision for the future. A real woman is also patient, but her patience is not limitless. She will stand by a man's side through his struggles, through his moments of doubt, and through his journey of becoming. She will encourage him when the world doubts him, remind him of his greatness when he forgets, and push him forward when he feels stuck. But she will not wait forever for someone who refuses to grow. She will not keep pouring into a cup that has holes in it. She believes in love, but she believes in herself more. Her presence in a man's life is transformative. She brings a certain energy that shifts the atmosphere. When she walks into a room, she carries herself with purpose. Her kindness does not mean she is weak, and her compassion does not mean she is a pushover. She is both soft and strong, both gentle and fierce. She knows how to be vulnerable without being dependent, and she knows how to love without losing herself. Men who recognize and appreciate a real woman understand that she is rare. They know that her presence is a privilege, not an entitlement. They understand that love is not just about attraction, but about connection, respect, and mutual growth. But the men who take her for granted, who fail to show up for her, who assume she will always be there no matter how they treat her, those are the men who end up living with regret. Because a real woman will love you, but she will not lose herself in the process. She will give you chances, but she will not allow herself to be treated as an option. In the moment she realizes that she is not being valued in the way she deserves, she will choose herself. And once she walks away, she does not look back. When a man loses a real woman, the emotional turmoil he experiences is not immediate. At first, he may not fully grasp the weight of what he has lost. He may convince himself that he can move on quickly, that she was replaceable, or that he will be fine without her. But over time, reality starts to set in, and the emotional roller coaster begins. This journey is not linear. It moves through stages, each one more painful than the last, until he either grows from the experience or becomes consumed by regret. The first stage is denial. In this phase, he refuses to believe that she is really gone. He tells himself that she will come back, that she just needs space, or that she will eventually realize she misses him. He downplays the loss, distracting himself with work, friends, or even other women. He convinces himself that she will reach out first, that she cannot possibly be fine without him. But what he fails to realize is that a real woman does not leave impulsively. When she walks away, it is because she has exhausted all efforts to make things work. She does not leave to seek attention or to test his love. She leaves because she has given all she can give, and she refuses to stay where she is not valued. As time passes, the second stage, anger, kicks in. He starts blaming her, calling her ungrateful, accusing her of being too demanding, or convincing himself that she was the problem. He rewrites history to make himself feel better, remembering only the arguments and the struggles while ignoring the love and the sacrifices she made. This anger is often fueled by ego, his inability to accept that he was the one who caused the loss. He may lash out, trying to prove that he does not need her, making reckless decisions just to show that he has moved on. But deep down, the anger is not really towards her, it is towards himself. It is the frustration of knowing that he had something real, something valuable, and he let it slip through his fingers. Then comes bargaining. This is when he starts replaying every moment in his mind, analyzing what went wrong, wishing he had done things differently. He thinks about the times he ignored her when she needed him, the moments he failed to express his love, the times he took her for granted. He tells himself, if only I had listened more, if only I had appreciated her, if only I had shown up the way she needed me to. He may try to reach out, sending messages that range from casual to desperate, hoping she will give him another chance. But by the time a real woman reaches this point, she is no longer emotionally invested. She has mourned the relationship already, long before she left. She has made peace with her decision, and she is not looking back. This leads to the hardest stage, acceptance and regret. This is when he fully understands what he has lost. He sees her thriving without him, glowing in her happiness, no longer affected by his absence. He realizes that the love she gave him was rare, that not every woman will invest in a man the way she did. He meets other people, but none of them make him feel the way she did. He misses her energy, her wisdom, her presence. He finally understands that losing her was not just losing a partner, it was losing a version of himself that she brought out. At this point, he has two choices. He can stay stuck in regret, or he can grow from it. The pain of losing a real woman can either break a man or build him. The smart ones take the lesson and use it to become better men. They learn to communicate, to value love when they have it, to show up for their partner before it is too late. But those who refuse to learn, they spend years haunted by what-ifs, watching another man give her the love they failed to provide. When a man loses a real woman, his emotions do not immediately surface in their full intensity. At first, he may carry on, as if nothing has changed, convincing himself that he can move forward without feeling much impact. He tells himself that she was just another chapter in his life, that he can replace her, or that he never really needed her in the first place. But what he fails to recognize is that a real woman is not easily forgotten. She is not just another person who came and went. She was a foundation, a source of stability, and an irreplaceable presence. And as time unfolds, the emotional weight of losing her starts to take its toll, sending him on an unpredictable roller coaster of emotions that he never anticipated. At first, he denies that he feels anything at all. He pretends that he is unaffected, immersing himself in distractions to avoid dealing with the void she left behind. He goes out more, surrounds himself with people, and may even seek comfort in the arms of others. But no matter what he does, there is an emptiness inside him that he cannot quite explain. He expects her to reach out, to check on him, to ask if he is okay. But when she does not, when she remains silent and distant, he begins to feel the first signs of unease creeping in. He realizes that she is not waiting for him, and for the first time, he begins to question whether she is truly gone. As reality sets in, frustration follows. He grows angry, not just at her, but at himself. He starts to resent the way she moved on so effortlessly. believing that she should still be affected, that she should still care. He looks for reasons to blame her, convincing himself that she was the problem, that she expected too much, that she should have been more patient. But deep down, his anger is a reflection of his own guilt. He knows that he had chances to do better, to show up for her, to express his love in ways that mattered. And now that she is gone, he feels powerless because he cannot change the past. The realization that he is the reason for his own loss is a painful truth that he struggles to accept. He begins to replay every moment in his head, remembering the time she stood by him, the time she forgave him, the time she gave him her all, despite his flaws. He remembers her words, her kindness, the way she loved him when he was at his lowest. And suddenly, what he once took for granted now seems priceless. He finds himself wishing he had done things differently, wishing he had told her how much she meant to him when he had the chance. He sends messages that remain unanswered. He watches her from a distance, hoping to see signs that she still cares. But what hurts the most is realizing that she has truly moved on. Not with bitterness, not with anger, but with peace. She is not waiting for him. She has accepted what he could not, and she has chosen herself. And now he faces the hardest part of all, acceptance. He understands that no amount of regret can bring her back. He realizes that she was never the problem. His lack of appreciation was. He sees her happy without him, and he knows that someone else will love her the way he should have. He understands that he had something rare, something real, and he lost it because he did not cherish it when he had it. He is left with a lesson that came too late, a truth that he must live with for the rest of his life. And in that moment, he understands that losing a real woman is not just losing a relationship. It is losing the opportunity to be loved in a way that only she could have given. A real woman does not leave easily. When she loves, she gives with her whole heart. She nurtures, supports, and believes in the man she chooses. She stands by him during his struggles, lifts him up when he feels weak, and remains patient through his growth. She does not just see the man he is, she sees the man he can become. But love, no matter how strong, cannot thrive in an environment where it is not valued. A real woman does not beg for attention, nor does she settle for being an afterthought. She understands her worth, and while she may fight for love, she will never fight to be loved. Walking away is never her first choice. She will communicate her needs, express her feelings, and give countless chances for change. She will remind him of the things she needs emotionally, of the importance of being present, of the value of mutual respect. She will endure more than she should, believing in potential, believing in promises. But there comes a moment when she realizes that love should not feel like a constant battle to be seen, heard, and appreciated. And when she reaches that point, she makes a decision, not out of anger or bitterness, but out of self-respect. The moment she decides to leave, something shifts within her. It is not impulsive. It is not a dramatic exit filled with arguments and chaos. It is quiet, deliberate, and final. She has already mourned the relationship while she was still in it. She has already processed the pain of feeling neglected, unloved, or unappreciated. By the time she walks away, her heart is no longer attached in the way it once was. She has given all that she could give, and now she is choosing herself. She does not leave with resentment, nor does she seek revenge. She does not look back because she knows that if a man truly valued her, he would have made her feel love long before she had to leave. She does not engage in games or attempts to make him jealous because she does not need validation from someone who failed to cherish her. Instead, she focuses on herself, on healing, on growth, on rediscovering the happiness she once placed in his hands. The most painful realization for the man comes when he sees her thriving without him. He expected her to be broken, to reach out, to miss him in a way that would give him control. But instead, she moves on with grace. She glows, not because she found someone new, but because she found herself. She is happier, lighter, free from the weight of waiting for love that never fully came. And that is when regret hits him the hardest. He realizes that she was not just another woman, she was the woman. She was the one who truly understood him, who cared for him beyond the surface, who saw his potential even when he did not see it himself. He finally understands the difference between temporary attraction and deep, irreplaceable connection. He may try to reach out, but it is too late. Not because she hates him, but because she has outgrown him. She has no desire to go back to a place where she felt unseen. She has learned that real love does not require begging, nor does it come with conditions. And now, she is ready for the kind of love that does not ask her to prove her worth. She does not leave because she stopped loving. She leaves because she started loving herself more, and once she makes that decision, she never looks back. The moment a man realizes he lost a real woman, a deep internal struggle begins. He starts to reflect on everything she brought into his life. Her love, her patience, her support, and the way she made him feel like he could conquer the world. But now, she's gone. And no matter how much he wishes he could turn back time, he cannot undo the choices that led to her leaving. This is when the regret sets in, and with it comes a painful understanding he must now live with the consequences of his actions. At first, he may not even realize the depth of his loss. He might convince himself that she will come back, that she just needs time to cool off, or that she will reach out when she misses him. But as days turn into weeks and weeks into months, he begins to notice the silence. The absence of her presence becomes louder than any words ever could. The good morning texts are gone. The calls to check on him during a stressful day no longer come. The laughter, the warmth, the emotional safety she provided, it has all disappeared. As the reality of her absence sinks in, he starts to compare. He meets other women, but something is always missing. The way she understood him without him having to explain himself. The way she encouraged his dreams and believed in him, even when he doubted himself. The way she saw the best in him, even when he was not showing up as his best self. No matter how hard he tries to replace her, no one else measures up. And that is when he begins to understand she was rare, and he let her go. The pain intensifies when he sees her moving on, not bitter, not broken, but better. She is thriving without him, and that is what truly stings. He expected her to suffer, to struggle without his presence, but instead she is glowing. She has taken back her energy, her love, and her power, and she is investing it in herself. She is happy, and the hardest part for him to accept is that she is happy without him. This is the moment when self-reflection becomes unavoidable. He begins to ask himself hard questions. Why did he take her for granted? Why did he assume she would always be there? Why did he not show up for her the way she showed up for him? The answers to these questions bring pain because they force him to confront the truth. He had a real woman, and instead of cherishing her, he neglected what she needed. He starts to replay every memory in his head, the time she looked at him with love in her eyes, hoping he would notice, the time she supported him even when she was struggling herself, the way she tried to communicate her needs but he brushed them off, the way she slowly started to withdraw, not because she wanted to, but because she had no choice. And then, the moment she finally walked away, he remembers it now so clearly. The way she left with dignity, without anger, without begging, that was the moment he should have realized she was serious. But now, it is too late. He may try to reach out, but he quickly realizes that the version of her he once knew no longer exists. She has evolved, healed, and moved on. She is no longer waiting for him to change, no longer holding on to hope that he will wake up and see her worth. She has found peace, and she has found love, not necessarily in someone else, but within herself. The weight of regret is a heavy burden to carry, but it is one he must now live with. He had something rare, something real, and he let it slip away. And the most painful truth of all, she is never coming back. When a man loses a real woman, he does not just lose a relationship. He loses a piece of himself that she nurtured, protected, and believed in. He loses the version of himself that she helped bring to life, the man she saw in him when he could not even see it himself. And as he watches her walk away, as he realizes she is not looking back, he is faced with the choice: stay the same and live with regret, or transform and become the man he was always meant to be. At first, he may resist change. He may tell himself that he does not need to grow, that he will be fine just as he is. But over time, he begins to see the truth. His old ways, his lack of appreciation, his emotional unavailability, his inability to show up fully in the relationship, these were the very things that led to his loss. And if he does not change, if he does not take responsibility, he will continue to repeat the same mistakes, pushing away the people who truly care for him. Self-reflection becomes unavoidable. He starts to think about the moments when she tried to communicate her needs, the time she expressed her feelings, and the way she showed up for him even when he did not do the same in return. He realizes that love is not just about receiving, it is about reciprocating. It is about effort, about consistency, about being present in ways that matter. And for the first time, he sees clearly what he failed to do when he had the chance. The pain of this realization can be overwhelming. Regret weighs heavily on his heart, making him wish he could turn back time. He wishes he had listened more, cared more, appreciated her more. He wishes he had made her feel loved in the way she deserved, instead of assuming she would always be there. But the past cannot be changed. Only the future can. And this is where his true growth begins. The difference between a man who remains stuck in regret and a man who transforms is in his actions. Some men, unable to handle the weight of their mistakes, will choose to numb the pain, distracting themselves with temporary pleasures, avoiding emotional depth, refusing to take responsibility. But the men who truly learn, the ones who refuse to let the loss of a real woman be in vain, they take the pain and use it as fuel for transformation. He begins to develop emotional intelligence. He learns to communicate better, to express his feelings, to listen without defensiveness. He starts to appreciate love in a new way, not as something to take for granted, but as something to nurture and protect. He realizes that respect, loyalty, and presence are not just things a woman wants, they are things she deserves. As he grows, he understands that the purpose of his pain was not just to punish him, but to awaken him, to teach him what he could not see before, to make him ready for the love he once mishandled. And though he may never get her back, he can take what he has learned and use it to become better, not just for another relationship, but for himself. The greatest lesson he learns is this: a real woman's love is a gift, not an entitlement. And once it is lost, it may never return. But if he allows himself to grow, if he truly changes, then the next time love comes into his life, he will not make the same mistakes. He will be ready. And that is how a man turns his greatest loss into his greatest transformation. Losing a real woman is not just losing a partner, it is losing an opportunity, a rare and powerful love that not every man gets to experience. It is only in her absence that he truly understands her worth, but by then, it is too late. He goes through the painful process of denial, anger, regret, and eventually realization. And he sees her thriving without him, growing into the best version of herself, no longer waiting for him to recognize what he had. But the true question is, does he stay stuck in his regret or does he transform? The pain of losing a real woman can either break a man or build him. The men who refuse to change will repeat the same cycle, losing more good women along the way. But the ones who learn from their mistakes, who take responsibility for what they lost, who grow into stronger, wiser, more emotionally intelligent men, they turn their loss into their greatest lesson. In the end, the real woman does not look back because she knows her worth. And if he ever wants to experience love like hers again, he must become the kind of man who never takes it for granted. The choice is his. Stay the same and lose again, or evolve and be ready when true love finds him once more.